Hey everybody, Brian here again from quantlabs.net. More questions coming in from somebody who's part of a large association in the west part of my city here in Toronto, Canada. Did a presentation to them about 2 years ago, so I'm just going to keep them anonymous for now. But I thought I would just put together some information regarding these guys and their questions because I like to share my answers so other people can learn from it. Okay, so first thing, myself and a few others from a system development. Let me just start at the beginning here. You probably won't remember me. Oh, I remember, but we met briefly, did a presentation, blah, blah, blah. I believe the chapter head, da, da, da. And it was a good presentation, actually. Myself and a few others from a system development meetup are on the path to wanting to automate some trading strategies. I think we're looking at two options. One, do it yourself, DIY, yay. Pay somebody to implement the system ideas. I'll talk about that in a minute. Point number one. I was looking at Python and IB Bridge Pi for interactive brokers as a possible solution. Just wondering if you could provide some advice of software language and setups to use for automating stock and possibly option trading. Ideally, I'm not sure if that's options of trading or trading options, the asset class. Ideally, it'd be nice to choose from a universe of tickers and rank the signals generated by relative strength or some other ranking to give priority to certain stocks that trade over others. I'm personally more interested in swing trades and trend following versus high frequency or intraday stuff. I've copied blah, blah, blah in the email, blah, blah, blah. More interested in intraday. All guidance and directions or platform software to focus on would be much appreciated. I'll address that in a minute. Point two, what type of budget pricing should I expect for somebody qualified to implement a fairly simple system from soup to nuts based on rules anyway? And can you recommend some people I could talk to specialize on this? I'll address this first. I notice your site offers a premium subscription. Does your premium subscription have archives and ongoing content for the DIY? That's who we address. So let me talk about the first point two, then point one, and then the options of what I've got. What is the subscription cost and options? Thank you. By the way, located, where are you located? I'm in North York of Toronto. Would you be interested in coming out to speak to local meetings? Unfortunately, my time is getting more and more precious for me, but what I will be doing is doing weekly webinars. I'm looking at Monday nights as I used to do a few months ago. What will be happening, I'll be doing one starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to address people globally, and then do a private one either at 7 or 8 o'clock. It just depends upon the hours allocated to the first session, which is for the public and what's going on in the markets, and then drill it down in the second part for all my private members. And I'll talk about what I'll be addressing with those when I say members. Okay, so as promised, address point number two. What type of budget pricing should I expect for somebody qualified to implement a fairly simple system from soup to nuts based on rules anyway? And can you recommend some people I could talk to specialize in this? Okay, let's hope that my Facebook is working. Voila. Okay, so first things first, I've got communities all over the place. Now, what I want you to do is to join my group on Facebook. Okay, there's a lot of reasons why this is important, because this is why I have this group. What you'll see here, I've got 9,940 members. Okay, that's for my Facebook group. Okay, now out of that, if you go into discussion, put your request under right post, put your request out there, start a discussion, participate in this group. That is how you may be able to find some qualified people to help you out in this point number two. Other people may come aboard to suggest better programmers. There's always people on there looking and people posting for market for projects. And you got, like I said, 10,000 people that are globally, and some of them are quite qualified to do that. Now, in terms of budget pricing, when it comes to computer science, software projects, that could be limitless. It just depends on the coder, depends upon your scope, depends upon how the project evolves. It's a rabbit hole I would not recommend. From soup to nuts, that's pretty crazy because, you know, multi-billion-dollar trading platforms for high frequency are out there. Now, I know you suggested some simple stuff, so I'll give you some options there. Okay, so let's go into point number 2. Before I do that, if you go into my site since the fall of last year, what I've done here, if you go under, pretty well, let's say under my blog, quantlabs.net/blog, what you'll hear here is I got these little PDF books called Trade Like a Boss, Algo Trading Secrets. These are the covers. Now, the reason I wrote these is to help people like yourself who are retail traders that are trying to get across the finish line to be able to automate their own trading and research. This particular little book here, Technical Secrets in Algo Trading, is built exactly for people like you. There's 2 options that I can suggest from this book. There's an open source trading platform built in Java that you can easily download and be able to track and use as a screener and build little visual technical indicators as part of this little open source trading platform. It's pretty good, and it's got thousands upon thousands of people that download it. So download that book. The second option is if you are an expert in Excel, you don't need to go beyond what you're looking for. If you're just looking for purely trading signals, Excel is great for that. And there's a product in there that I can recommend. It's called XLQ, but I've got some video demos, references on where to go to get those references. I actually want to do that now because I'm a nice kind of guy. Now, you know about my Quant Labs YouTube channel, okay? I've built everything, or majority, I shouldn't say a majority, but a good chunk of my more recent videos are basically divided up via playlists. And what you're looking for is you want to look for a product called XLQ. The best option I would recommend is going to IQ Feed. IQ Feed is a great data feed for US and UK markets, Forex as well, and it's very affordable. And they also have some software that you can use to screen, build out some really good, powerful technical indicators as part of their add-in for Excel. So I would recommend it, and in there should be a product called XLQ. Here you go. Demo of XLQ. It's really, really good, very powerful, and I've got demos of that in this book and where to go and some other thoughts. Also, the other suggestion is go back in my playlist, and again, this one's free. Now, XLQ is fairly affordable, but if you look up a product called JStock, right here, JStock scanner, not many videos, but it'll give you an idea how the software works. It's pretty good. And again, it's a free program you can download, runs on all the major operating systems. So those are the options that I can recommend. Not doing too good in this department. Okay, there we go. Okay, so those are the options I can give you for point 2. Now, point number 1. All right, there's a lot of things you could look at. Now, I don't know what you're wanting to trade, but if you're wanting to trade stock only, interactive brokers is definitely the de facto. In terms of product that I've got, and I've just been recently adding that. If you come under my product little tab here, I've got 3 options for you, depending upon your trading skill. Now, you mentioned iBridge Pi. Okay, there's 2 paths you can go down, again, depending upon your coding skills, but I'll assume that you're new. Obviously, you can build out a very simple trading system in Python. I've got this course that's available, which is basically a high-level intro using Python 2.7, which is kind of old, but that's okay, and then you can upgrade it to 2.7. But what this course addresses all the different components you'll need for getting started in Python with an algo trading system. It's very simple. I introduce databases. I introduce how to set up your Python environment, why Python, I talk about the Interactive Brokers TWS interface with Python, very high level though. Now the one I'm using is called IBPy. If you look that up, that's a fairly popular at the time when these videos were created, and it works really nice. Okay, I'll say that. Now, this one called iBridgePy, I'm not sure. I've not really played with it, but the funny thing is I have the author coming to me asking me some interesting questions on how to interface with Interactive Brokers. So I'm not sure if I can recommend that Python package that will work with Interactive Brokers. But as a second option, you can always use the IBPy as well. Now, language, stay on Python. That's a definite. I just did a survey about 2 weeks ago, and over 80 responses. Everybody's almost half of those responses were on Python. So that's a no-brainer there. Now, automating stock, possibly option from a universal tickers and rank. Okay, I'll address that in a minute. To give priority search. So that's basically your trading logic you're speaking about. I'm personally more interested in swing trading, trend following versus high frequency or intraday stuff. That's fine. Again, that just comes down to building out your trading logic within Python. I've copied blah, 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 intraday. Any guidance or direction on platforms, software technology to focus on would be appreciated. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so what do I got that's available? Okay, so I've talked about this in the past. So we've got this one course on Python. Now, again, Python is really good for an overall trading system. For trading execution, sending in orders. Python's okay if you're only doing a very small volume of orders. So if you're in the magnitude of, like, let's say 100 plus, you may need to go with something better than Python. But just starting out, this IBPy may be sufficient. iBridgePy may be sufficient as well. I'm not sure on that one, but I played enough with IBPy that I'm pretty confident that it can do the job. So you come back to my Python. Now we've got the Interactive Brokers API workshop. This workshop is really geared towards more advanced developers, more experienced developers that focuses purely on Interactive Brokers. The idea here is back in the day, Interactive Brokers put a lot of effort on the Windows operating system. But as people are starting to move off of Windows, there's now been a major effort by Interactive Brokers to address that crowd that are moving into Mac and Linux. And they've done a pretty good job of it. But their primary focus languages they support is using Java, C++, and again, Python. Now, this course is really designed for more people that want to understand the more advanced and more rigid, more advanced stuff and how to build out a better. Basically, you're building out a message queue between a database and your orders with your trading logic. So what I've done is I've created this huge set of modules using Redis as the center data hub that can store your data and then push your data. And even now your trading logic with the new Redis 4 using machine learning, I haven't looked into that, but that capability is definitely there. And that can be part of your core Redis database in itself, which is a lot of databases are moving towards, like all the major ones, SQL Server, probably Oracle as well. But the nice thing about Redis is it includes all the major features you get from a database. But the beautiful thing about Redis, it's open source, so it's free. You get redundancy, failover, all the major things you would expect from a major rock solid database, but it's open source and it's true open source, unlike other NoSQL databases like Mongo. Okay, so we focus a lot on using Redis as a database, but the nice thing about Redis is it will also talk to virtually a lot of languages that a lot of the other NoSQL databases cannot talk to. Because of that, you are now able to build out message queues using different design patterns, and I show them using something called a publish subscriber and all that. And that's kind of important from your trading logic scripts if you're choosing, let's say, Python, and then issuing orders as well as storing your data in Redis, which is like your central data hub, which is awesome. Now the thing is, with interactive brokers, they offer all these programming languages. You do have the option of, let's say, Java. So I show you different ways to interact with Java and the interactive brokers TWS software, the Trader Workstation, and I offer that. So we've got all the different ways to offer to build out your message queue with Redis, with Java, and Python as well. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. For those that are highly advanced, the C++ library is kind of legacy and can be cumbersome, but I built a little module so that people could see demonstrations of using the C++ POSIX library, and that gives you the option to not only use the interactive brokers TWS software, but it opens up now, you can now start using something like the gateway, which has so many advantages. Where, let's say, TWS will shut down at 10 or quarter to 12 midnight, and then you have to wait, reconnect after midnight, and that sort of thing. Gateway doesn't have these sort of problems. So it's much better. And also, if you use this option, you also now have the ability to use Fix as well, which is the professional protocol. But very few, I would say almost nobody would ever use Fix, but that is an option. Now, again, because there's so many different languages of Java, Python, or C++, there's got to be a discussion on when and how you want to use what language under what conditions with interactive brokers. Now here at the bottom, you'll see some samples for those that want to stick with Forex. I offer some bonus material as well on how to interface with Dukas Copy. So that's what I got there. Now, that's for both the technical levels. Now this is just a standard strategy if you want to use options using fundamental. Now for those that don't have the technology capabilities, I'm just looking for simple stuff. That's why I'm launching this Quant Analytics, and that's going to just have a whole slew of videos upcoming on what this is and how it works. So that's pretty well everything from a technical level as asked in this specific question. And hopefully I'll help you out in a variety of ways. If you want, as you mentioned here, local trading meeting, just come out to my Monday nights at 6 or 8 if you decide to become a member. I'll be doing that, like I said, on a weekly basis. So that's the best way to get in touch with me. And all this stuff is obviously geared towards a do-it-yourselfer as well, because you have absolute control over your trading source code, as well as you're not submitting your trading logic or your intellectual property of your strategies onto a cloud service that's owned by a third party. And I'm not saying they will or won't, but that can get access to your trading logic and intellectual property, which we all know is very valuable to you. So this way you have absolute total control and ownership on it, and you're not exposing it to anybody that you don't want to see, but still you have absolute control over your own source code and the trading logic in your source code as well. Hopefully those answer your question. Over and out.